Many people come to me, Linda Humphries, well-known psychic, channeler, medium, and as many people call me, the telephone operator to the other side, to talk to their friends, their loved ones. Some of them, unfortunately, are talking to their children who have left us. They want to know, is there another side? Is their child, their parent, their loved one, or a best friend, or coworker happy? Where are they? What are they experiencing? When I talk to them, I will tell them what the person is doing on the other side. I will tell them how they are giving them signs that they are there. Such as my Aunt Maudie comes as a robin. My Uncle Alex comes as a robin. A day I went out with a coworker that I worked with. My Uncle Alex sometimes, when he's being protective, shows up as a robin that's missing part of the right wing. And I told that to my coworker. And all the day long, as we were walking through the botanical garden, my coworker kept being a little bit nervous because there that little robin was following us. I guaranteed my coworker, my uncle loved and approved of him and knew he was an okay guy. But one of the ladies that I exercised with, I knew her mother before she was ever born. And her mother came to me and said, "Don't be scared. It's me." And she came in the form of a beautiful, beautiful yellow butterfly. She told me she would show herself to her daughter in the same fashion, that she had a piece of jewelry to give her daughter. Later, the daughter verified the story to many of our friends. I was more than honored that what the mother had told me came true, because I thought a lot of that family as I was growing up in the small town I grew up in. Now, the beginning of my speech today is the first part of our passing and leaving this earth, and how many people experience it in many different ways. In my Aunt Maudie's case, my Aunt Maudie fell in her driveway. She busted the tumor loose within her head. Her gallbladder, which was full of stones, was bruised. When they called me to tell me there was no hope, I rushed to see her at the hospital. Inside her hospital room stood Jesus, Barney and Wilma, Edna and Art, James and Dorothy, and I could go on and on and on. There were a total of 11 people there, if you're going to count Jesus as a person, which I do. When she finished reading the card that I gave her about being a mother, and the letter that I gave her saying how much she was my mother, and how much I would miss her, but I wanted her to know that before she left and was with Jesus and all of our relatives, especially Grandma Humphries. She said to me, "They can all leave now." And she turned to Jesus and said, "You can take them all. I'm not going now. I'm staying. This letter proves to me I have other people related to me I need to have closure with. So I'm not coming." The nurse that was in the room looked at me and said, "Oh, you're the gifted daughter she talked about, the one that heals people of cancer and does other miracles." I didn't know what to say, except for, yes, I am. But she really is sick, isn't she? And I got a Galton Hemen, and I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but I know that means God in heaven. "Be quiet, young lady, I'm staying." Then I got something said to me in Hungarian, and I saw Grandma Segedy leave the room. And everybody else followed. So my Aunt Maudie, who was my mother and my best friend, stayed until that August. As I was leaving on my trip to go and do readings and also a $100 plate lecture in Florida, she turned to me and gave me a look, and she said, "You know, Jesus came to me. He's taking me while you're gone. I'll be gone on the 3rd. I won't be here for my birthday." I looked at her and said, "Then I'm not leaving." And she said, "No, you have to. You have to celebrate my birthday. And you'll do it on the 3rd in your speech." Little I know, the woman knew more than she thought. On the 3rd, at my $100 plate dinner, in my speech, they asked me to tell who the most important person was that influenced my life to help people and do what I did for God. And I said, "I'd like you all to raise your glasses and give a toast to my Aunt Maudie." At that time, in the Midwest, she had fallen out of her bed at the nursing home and was rushed to the hospital. That night, at 12:22 in the a.m., she passed to be with God and all of the relatives that had come to her room months earlier trying to pull her into the above. That next morning, as I walked to eat after hearing the news, I had the most wonderful surprise. I had a turkey vulture walking next to me with 2 beautiful robins marching next to them. The girl that went down there with me was a nice young lady who was like a niece to me. She said, "I don't understand why you're so happy." I said, "The sign of the turkey vulture means my aunt passed while sleeping, and she is at peace. The sign of the 2 robins is that she is with my Uncle Alex, and they are happy." That night when I went to the beach and I saw the waves coming at me as I stepped in the water, I could see everyone who was celebrating. And one of my other girlfriends had asked me how her mother showed herself as a butterfly. Another girlfriend asked why her grandmother comes to her and touches her cheek the same as she did when she was little. I said, these are all signs that they have crossed over and that they have done each stage of passing. The first stage of passing is that we accept that we are no longer here inside these physical bodies that we use to sit, that we use to stand up in, that we use to hold our loved ones in, and that we use to do the jobs we were put here to do. It is that we are willing to allow our souls to move on to the next phase of what we're doing. I've been asked, what if someone dies in a tragic car accident? Do they feel the pain? How terrible is that for them? I've had many people come to get readings of their sons or their daughters or their husbands or their wives. And I say to them, many people are removed from the physical body by having their souls removed. The physical body is crushed. Bones, facial lacerations, terrible, terrible things have happened to that physical body. But the soul and the emotional body felt nothing. There was no pain, for they were removed to go to heaven before that happened. Now, for those of you who are interested and say, but what happened to me? I cut my wrist by accident, which I did. If you look at this wrist, I was cleaning my big windows in my house before I had the new ones, and I went to slide the one up in front of my pregnant roommate that I had at the time, and I said, oh, I just wish you would break. You're making me so mad. Never say that to a window. It slit as it broke and slit straight through my wrist, straight through the artery. As I bled through 3 big bath towels, I tried to find someone who could fit behind the car to drive me to the hospital, since my roommate was 8.5 months pregnant and could not drive. When I got to the hospital, I had lost so much blood that I was unaware of what they were doing to me. Once they got me in the room, I had already left my body and was with my grandmother and with Jesus. Jesus said to me, do you not know you have more to do? My grandmother said, I do not want you here with me. You have more to do. The room was beautiful. It was white. There was marble. It was a church of God. It was a church that I knew I had seen before. It was a church that was amazing. I could see what kind of a house I would ask to live in. I could see what I would ask to do when I was in heaven, if I was going to stay. But as I could hear the old German doctor from the ER say, Gott in Himmel, just like Aunt Maudie, just like my grandmother, just like all my German relatives said, and him talking to the young lady who brought me and asking why she would give me time to shower and wash my hair and wash off the dirt when I was bleeding so badly. I also heard Jesus say, what did you ask to do this lifetime before you came? And I said, I asked to have all the gifts that I had in every lifetime before. And I asked to guide people to what they were to do. And he said, do you believe you're done? And I said, I don't want to be done. You're right. And in that split second, I could hear the doctor say, does she want us to do a transfusion? I know you're not related to her. And I came into my body fast enough to say, no, God will help me have enough energy to survive. So for a lot of people who have said that they have gone to the other side, I know that Jesus put his hand into my wrist and stopped the bleeding long enough for that doctor to sew my artery totally shut. He said, when I finally came to long enough to talk to him, that my artery was hanging together by a thread. He had 8 stitches to stitch how wide I was open on the top of the skin. So I had tried, by being mean to the window that is across from me over here, to not be here anymore. But when given my choice as to whether I wanted to do more, as I asked for in the beginning, as a soul coming into a baby's body, I chose to come back. I've had other people who have been pronounced dead due to a heart attack that have come to see me who have described the same situation, where they realized their wife could not handle the life without them, that they wanted to see their children grow up. But I've also had it, and my favorite miracle that God has let me be part of is the church that I went to growing up had a pastor that when you looked at him, you felt as if God was talking to you. When I was in my 8th year, he had been diagnosed from the Mayo Clinic as having terminal cancer and giving months to live. At the same time, his wife had received the news she was pregnant. After a class of confirmation, he pulled me aside and said, "I know you have special gifts. I know you are gifted. Would you give me a miracle? Will God allow you?" And all I did was press my hands on top of his hands and ask. And he was able to live until his son entered kindergarten. I do not believe that it was through me. I believe that it was through the fact that I had asked for this man that had done so much for so many and done it without wanting anything, that I was able to give him that many more years. I believe that his son now does his work as his thank you for what he was given, the chance for his dad to be there. I have been told by many that they do not understand. They thought that when you die, you just die. There is nothing after that. And I've explained to them there is a lot after that. But you have to be willing, when you die, to go to the church, go to be questioned, go to make atonement, go to be greeted, whether it's by an angel, whether it's by a family member. But you have to be willing to leave this earth plane and be willing to accept the fact that you have passed. When people talk to me about their relatives that have died tragically in a car accident, have shot and killed themselves, have died of terrible cancers, that have died in a tragic way, they ask, how can they be healthy on the other side? They had terrible lung cancer. They could hardly breathe, Linda. And I say to them, excuse me, once you are on the other side, you are greeted by angels. You are greeted by people that live through your life with you, saying, welcome. You may be received with a hand out from someone you do not know, or a handout from an aunt, an uncle, or even Jesus. If your belief system is Allah, if your belief system is of Buddha, then you will do what that belief system is when you pass. But you must be capable of saying, I know I'm no longer physically here. The physical body has been left behind. The etheric body, or the soul, is now moving ahead. in the proper manner. A lot of people tell me, and I was honored, that one of my best friends' relative came to me as I was having a hospital procedure. He proceeded to tell me that he was in the process of leaving the earth. He said, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go fishing. I grinned, I celebrated, and then I said, who do you want me to contact? What do you want me to do? And it was so real to me that I wasn't sure that I wasn't moving during a procedure that I was supposed to be laying straight and still for. The wonder of being able to tell his relatives that he was celebrating, that he was supposed to die months before, that his heart had given out, that God was there to get him, relatives were there to get him, and he made a deal with Jesus that he wasn't going nowhere. He was staying. And to have him say he was going down to a place he had gone to many other times, and he was going fishing. I've had many people that have passed away. I had a young stewardess who I read for, whose sister said, tell her what I do in heaven. And I said, huh? Okay, I'll tell her. I don't know what it means, but I'll tell her. I said, by the way, your sister's selling plants in heaven. The girl started crying and couldn't stop crying. To me, that meant nothing. To her, it meant everything. Every time this poor young lady who had died of bone cancer got cancer, her sister would bring her plants. The last time her sister brought her a plant, it was silk, with the card she wrote, if you kill this one, I get double my money back. What she told me to tell her sister is, and with the silk ones, I guarantee them if they kill them, I give them double their money back. So she knew that I was talking to her sister. She also knew that her sister was happy because she was doing something she always dreamed of doing that she never was able to do because plants always died on her. So, as I say, the first step of death and not being here on earth is to give up the physical body. To make the step into heaven with your guides, with the religious people, with whoever you want to leave with or has come to get you. To then ask for what you want to do there, till you have released the fact that you have passed. You're not done with that journey by any means, just by leaving this physical body. But that first step has to be a celebration that your body is now whole. Your body no longer has the cancer. If you were being badly abused, as one young man, the grandmother came to me to get a reading, and she did not understand why he would be showing himself to her, and part of his head was missing. He was in heaven. And I said, but he hasn't done all the steps yet. He's a good Catholic boy, and he believes by shooting himself to avoid all the abuse and the bullying he was going to, he doesn't deserve to be healed. So he will have that hole until he understands he is a child of God. He is one with God. He's one with all of us. We love him. We miss him. As I was talking, she could see him, and she could see the hole closing. She could see a golden light around him because she knew he had been forgiven and forgiven himself. As I said, the first step is to walk into the light, to be taken to the other side. If you fall asleep to join your loved ones, you will wake up in the bright light with your loved ones on the other side. There is no first step. You'll just be there. For the other people that I've talked about, they had that first step. It wasn't as simple. It wasn't as easy. But it was as beautiful once they welcomed being there with God, being there with their loved ones, and the fact that their diseases were no longer part of them. Living in an etheric realm where everything is white, everything is golden, everything is beautiful. The next step is to walk into the church that is waiting for you and to allow you to draw in the light and to draw in the wonderful energy telling you that you have been accepted. For those who are not able to do so, they do end up wandering the earth as those people we call the shadow people. They are not dark entities around your house. They are the entities around your house that need lifting. On my website, I promise you that I will give you a prayer to do to help them cross. And as I've said to all of the people that come to my house, if you feel someone has not crossed, please look on my website, lindahumphries.com, and make an appointment with me. We can talk. We can also get to the bottom of why they may not have crossed, and I will help you allow them to awaken so they know it's time for them to cross. May you all be blessed, and may your loved ones that have maybe been afraid be watching over your shoulder as you listen to this, and may they realize that they are blessed and that they should open up to cross this first step and then to enter the churches, the synagogues, and all of the realms that are there to heal them so they can then go to the libraries on their third step. Thank you. May you all be blessed. And may you all know who is watching over you, and know that they are watching over you because of the love they have for you. Thank you.